another thing, Yusuf, someone said this the other day, and they think a lot of men lack executive function from chronically low testosterone, which, we know this happens. A lot of CEOs take testosterone in their 30s and 40s because we know testosterone makes you sharper. You see all these guys like Bezos, Zuckerberg, dosed on TRT, getting great bodies in their 40s and 30s compared to when they were younger. So yeah, I know you did a very good video on this beginning of last year about estrogens and plastics and kind of phytoestrogens and all that kind of stuff. What were your conclusions from your self-experiment, N=1, your cohort study on yourself from reducing your synthetic estrogen exposure?
Yeah, so I can go over that. The executive function thing's interesting, and I'd love to pick your brains on that in a second as well. But what Asif's referring to is I did a 12-week estrogen elimination experiment. So what it was, the hypothesis is that we are being exposed to a large amount of environmental estrogens in our daily life, from cosmetics, plastics, fragrances, certain like dishwasher stuff and laundry powder, all that kind of thing. And the idea is that because of the total mass effect of the exposure, it's having a global effect on our health, on our sperm count, on perineal length, funnily enough, in babies, the neurodevelopmental changes that you kind of alluded to there, IQ in babies, metabolic syndrome, gynecomastia. So there seems to be a lot of these estrogen mimetic compounds in plastics and cosmetics, particularly, that over time they build up. We don't have the natural metabolic pathways to be able to clear them. And so we're seeing some quite worrying trends in the data. My test was to see whether I could maybe influence my serum levels of estrogen and testosterone by trying to eliminate as many of these as possible. Now, as a heads up, you cannot fully eliminate them because we're exposed so heavily to this stuff. But what we can do is at least pick the highest yield things. And looking into it, the highest yield thing is don't microwave plastic. Don't eat food that's kind of with heated plastic. That's particularly because plastic that softens in the heat can it starts to actually shed its plastic into the food, particularly if the food is acidic. That goes into your bloodstream. It's very difficult to then get rid of that, and it builds up over time. So what some of the highest yield things would be that, and eliminating fragrances too. I went through a much more kind of rigorous checklist of everything and tried to get rid of as much as I could. And I did some sauna and some sauna protocols, because that's meant to be one of the best ways to clear the built up estrogen through sweat, funnily enough. So, quick whip through. If you're interested in some of the things that I eliminated were fragrances, cosmetics, storing and heating food in plastic, touching receipts, which is lower risk nowadays, essential oils, chewing gum, sunscreen, laundry powders, filtered my water, and any kind of skin cosmetics and that kind of thing. And also tried to eliminate plant estrogens too, so flax, soy, lavender, tea tree, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know some of these are higher yield than others, but I'm trying to just blanket eliminate as many as possible and see what happens over a 12-week period. And I did see my numbers improve, all of them in the right direction. So my SHBG, my estrogen, my testosterone, my free test, all moved within line of what I was hoping for, which was pretty cool. Retesting a year later, I also found a continued improvement. Now, of course, I'm sure you would say, like, if we were to be skeptical, 2 random blood tests and then a third one, it's not enough density of statistical data to be able to make big conclusions from. But it was trending in the right direction, and the whole kind of theory makes sense to me. And I think to avoid heating stuff in plastic, I'm not really losing much by doing that. So I would recommend anyone who's like even slightest bit concerned about this stuff,
Yeah.
go for the high yield.